of those teams they could beat. So congratulations, and we'll see. Good luck. I would love to see having some Oregon ties and stuff like that. I would love to see them do well. All right, in some college basketball news, Georgetown hires Patrick Ewing as their head coach. They fired, I think, John Thompson, and hired Patrick Ewing. Fucking legend. I think he's their leader. Second place in points, leader in blocks and rebounds. One of the greatest college basketball players of all time. And going back home to be a head coach, we'll see how that goes. I think that it'll definitely help from a recruiting standpoint. I think that it'll just having legacy like that there will probably help propel forward the notion, at least, whether or not it's true that they're really serious about getting back to where they had been previously. And so I think that's probably a pretty good hire for Georgetown. How about injury news? Decker, Houston Rockets, he breaks his hand. He may be coming back for the regular season, or not the regular season, excuse me, the postseason. Definitely out for the regular season. So it's a huge blow there for Houston. Not a huge blow. He was just one of the pieces. But the best thing that Houston has is that they just have so many interchangeable pieces, and you can allow just anybody to get hot any night, and then have 2 or 3 20-point scorers, and big men too. Houston's a good team. Hopefully he'll be able to get back, as well as Nurkic, and I just hate injuries in general. So I'd like to see the teams. Kevin Love. Hopefully he's 100%. Hopefully Kevin Durant. He's 100% by the time any of it really matters. And speaking of injuries or whatever, missing games at least, James Harden misses his first game of the season. He was ill, kind of an undisclosed illness, but he misses the game. Talked about it earlier a little bit. I don't see it as a major deal. I guess some people think that the 81 games played compared to the 82 games played just doesn't look well for the MVP, or it was just such a major factor forward for somebody winning an MVP that not having the full 82 games just kind of takes away from that. I don't really agree. It's one game. Just look at the overall aspect, of the season and things like that. The one game is I think that's just a statistical relevance thing or something like that. D Rose, more injury news. Goddamn. Luckily, this one's not injury news that's going to affect the playoffs. But unfortunately, again, knee injury for D Rose. He tears his meniscus. He will be out 3 to 6 weeks. He had surgery, I think, yesterday. Everything seems to have went well. 3 to 6 weeks, he can begin basketball operations or whatever they call that. He's going to be a free agent though, so it'll be interesting to see. I don't think that any team is really going to peg him to be a starting point guard, but he would be a good player coming off of the bench, somebody who's obviously has the ability to score. Basketball knowledge has been around for a while. We'll see, what fit might come forth. I don't think he's going to be a Knick again, though, honestly. I think the Knicks are going to go for a different route there. And I don't know. I expect him to be maybe more of a mid-level team, coming off of the bench for a mid-level team with some scoring or something like that. All right, the 2017 Hall of Fame. How about that? The inductees have been revealed a couple days ago. The leader, basically, or the headliner of the inductees, Tracy McGrady, the boy, one of my favorite players of all time. He was my favorite player when he played in the early 2000s, let's say 02. I think I was an Iverson guy, and then in 02 or something, 03 to 06, I was a McGrady guy. What a bad motherfucker. Congratulations. Pretty great career. One of the best players in the league. I think he averaged 32 a game in Orlando one year. Led the league in scoring 1 or 2 years. And even in Houston, had a pretty damn good career. And even late, he had just a productive career. He played, somewhat late as a good bench player too. Who else is inducted? Bill Self, Kansas coach. After taking over for Roy Williams, he arguably has had more success in Kansas than Roy Williams even had. Fantastic coach there. Came close this year. Not close enough. Ironically, Roy Williams won the national championship, but It is what it is. Congratulations, Bill Self. Jerry Krause, also GM of the Bulls. Pretty obvious there. Kind of led to that legacy. Jordan Pips. There was Rodman. There was other, Horace Grant. There were fucking, there was a few. Steve Kerr. So congratulations, Jerry Krause there. And then we also have Rebecca Lobo. I think she was a UConn player, played in the WNBA for a while, and an analyst at this point. Super smart about basketball. One of the the pioneers of women's basketball, I think, really, especially at the college level. At UConn, she was I think back-to-back national champion. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a great overall career. Very smart, very articulate. Good, just super awesome. Congratulations, Rebecca. We already talked about this, but in injury news again, damn. Yusuf Nurkic, Portland Trailblazers center, out with a fractured fibula. Apparently, he's going to come back sometime if they were to make it to like the finals or the conference finals or something like that. Apparently, he may be able to come back, but we'll see. I mean, that's obviously a massive blow. He was, I have talked about on this podcast even that I thought C.J. McCollum is better than Lillard, but last month, the Lillard-Nurkic combination was the catalyst to them having a 13-3 month and being the second best team in the league last month. And it's really unfortunate. Hopefully, he is able to come back. They're going to play the Warriors in the first round, so it's he'll have to come back quick in order to make an impact there, because obviously that game could be 4 or 5 games and out for the Blazers, expectedly. Honestly, expectedly, I'd say 5 games. 5 games for the Warriors on that one. More injury news. Jesus, Jahlil Okafor, Robert Covington, both out for the season for Philly. Knee soreness for Okafor. They're just going to shut him down, and a slight meniscus tear for Covington. They're just going to shut him down. I don't think they're going to do surgery. I think they're just going to plan on rehabbing that naturally. It doesn't really matter at this point. They got a lot of players, younger players, that are able to step up and fill in minutes there as well. It's interesting to see what Philadelphia's plans are going to be. They have a lot of guys that they need to figure out what they're going to do with. A lot of talent, though, and honestly, a lot of pieces that people are interested in as well, so it's pretty cool. We already talked about this as well, but we didn't say it like this. Russell Westbrook had the highest scoring triple-double of all time, 57 points, 13 rebound, 11 assist performance the other day. 57 points, damn. Harden, I think, had it at 53 earlier in the season, and then Westbrook beat him here. And I think Westbrook also had a 53 or 52, something like that. Great performance there. Game-winning shot at the end of the game. People are kind of thinking he has solidified the MVP. And, I mean, like I've said earlier in this show, I don't necessarily agree, but I can see how anybody would think so. And then along with Kevin Durant coming back on Saturday against New Orleans, apparently Dwayne Wade with the fractured elbow, he may return Saturday against the Nets. So that's interesting to see how that goes down. The Bulls have actually been a better team in his absence. They've snuck back into the playoffs. I think they've had like a 4-2 record or a 5-3 record or something like that. And they're actually averaging 7 more points per game from 101 to 108 with Rondo starting with Butler as a 2 and then rather than Wade. So it's interesting to see how it'll play or work out for them. Wade generally has a slower pace of play, more of an ISO style player, individualistic ISO style player, a la the type of player with talent that existed when he came out. So we'll see if that happens and if it does happen, how it works out for him. All right, it's about that time. That's the end of the news. We are getting ourselves to the top 10 power rankings. Probably my favorite part of the show. It's at least the most interesting part of the show I can do. I think, at least in my opinion, it's where I actually have some input on what happens here. Everything else, I'm just reading the news, essentially. And this part's pretty dope, so let's get to it. Starting at number 10, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Same place as they were last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. We'll say last week from here on out, but y'all get the drift. Number 10 seat or number 10 spot, 45-33. They go 4-3 during the time off. Winners of 2 straight games, looking pretty damn good right now. Obviously, they're in the same spot. Russell Westbrook is balling right now, out of fucking control. They're winning games they shouldn't win. They're on the precipice of moving up on my list here. I just couldn't quite do it this week. Too many losses for me to do it. So they're still the number 10 seed. All right, number 9, the Los Angeles Clippers. Down 2 spots from last week where I had them at number 7, 48-31 record. Was that 2.5 games better than Oklahoma City? They go 4-1 on the week, winners of 4 straight games, and that's pretty much why I couldn't put them over Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City might be more impressive, but in this last week they were really close, and they had the ability to show me or show the standings at the very least that they were better than them, and they kind of faltered a little bit. So for right now, I have to have the Clippers above them at the number 9. I do have some worries about the Clippers though. DeAndre hasn't looked nearly as athletic as he did in the past, 3 or 4 years or whatever. Blake Griffin is playing better than he had previously, in my opinion. And Chris Paul is more off and on than he's ever been. So it's kind of a weird situation for the Clips right now. Alrighty, number 8, the Washington Wizards. Same place I had them last week. They're sitting at 48-31, same record as the Clips. A half game worse than the Jazz, same record as the Raptors. They go 2-3 on the week. Otherwise, I could have happily moved them up. I love the Wizards. I love their team. Love the style of play. I think John Wall is my favorite player to watch in the NBA. And they have a good bench as well. Played good just last night, winning me some ducats. Winners of 2 straight games. Kind of are what they are. They're looking... I think they're a tie for the 3rd seed right now with Toronto today. And I think Toronto has the tiebreaker, though. So technically they'd be the 4th seed right now, which would match them up against the Hawks, team they've probably, beaten 5 or 6 games. Probably 6. But Wizards looking pretty damn good. Healthy as well, which is good. All right, moving on. Number 7, the Utah Jazz. Down 1 spot from last week. 48-30, half game better than the Wizards and half game better than, more importantly, the Clippers still. They go 4-1, same record as the Clippers, winners of 1 straight game. Still, they're the 4 seed, the Clippers are the 5 seed. They're looking like they may have a playoff matchup. Rudy Gobert has been playing better than I've ever seen him play. He's going to be possibly the best center in the league next year. We'll see how everybody evolves. Nurkic, him, maybe Cousins, maybe Karl Anthony Towns. It's going to be super interesting to see, but if I had to put money on anybody, I think Rudy Gobert is going to be the best center in the league next year. For a lot of reasons. He's an offensive rebounder. He doesn't need the ball to score, which is something that you can't say about Cousins. Cousins is a great 3-point shooter, but he needs the ball to score. Towns is more of an offensive presence, rebounder as well. So, I'd lean more towards him than Boogie. But it'll be interesting. And Joel Embiid, too, honestly. We'll see what happens when Joel Embiid comes back. But, Utah Jazz are sitting there at number 7. And how about number 6, the Boston Celtics? Down 1 spot from last week as well. They're sitting at 50-29. What is it? Game and a half behind Cleveland for the number 1 seed. Like 2 games above the Wizards and the Raptors for the... number 3 and 4 seed there. Playing well. Isaiah still playing well. Defensively, they're great. Avery Thomas. The fuck kind of name is that? Avery Bradley is back, and he played pretty damn well last night. Looking just looking spry, looking good. Marcus Smart played great last night. They're very, very good defensively. I wish they had a little more size. I don't love Al Horford at the center position. I think of him more as a 4, but... yeah, they're a pretty small team because especially with the point guard, Isaiah, being so short, he's, not very good defensively against a John Wall or against a good shooter like a Kyrie. It's going to be tough for him, I think. So, but, they're still one of the best teams in the league. I love Isaiah. They're number 6. All right, sitting at number 5, the Toronto Raptors.